I just recently hit a 5-figure day in my business, and it happened incredibly fast. It was a really big breakthrough that I had in my business because I struggled for a long time getting really clear on who I'm serving and what I'm doing. And I was just not intentional. And not to mention, I had a lot of money blocks and money beliefs that literally were blocking money from me. Because what happened was, as soon as I released those blocks, those money blocks that I had money just came pouring down. Like literally that's what happened. And I share this with people, and I want to share this with you today. I want to say this, definitely not to brag, but to give people hope and to inspire people to look at me as evidence that if I can do it, you can do this too. Okay. There's nothing special. And for the longest time, I looked at other people making so much money in their business. And I'm like, how are they doing it? Like, I don't get it. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I would ask myself, all these questions, like, why can't I do this? Like, and just have all those frustrations. But literally the key for me was identifying my limiting beliefs around money, what I believed around money subconsciously. Okay, this was all at a subconscious level. It was not here, because in my mind, I thought like, well, I like money. I want money because it'll help me do these things, right? But really, I had a lot of subconscious. So I had these beliefs, right? And I didn't realize that I had them. I had the strategy. I had all that right. That really didn't change. My strategy didn't really change. What I did was turn up the volume a little bit and my marketing strategies and what I was doing and being visible. But really the key shift here was money. So I'm going to read really quick one line. So this is the book that I keep like talking about in all my posts inside the group. Is Think and Grow Rich Every Day. And it's basically just like little, let's see if you can see it. Just little paragraphs every single day that you can read. And I like this better personally than reading tons of pages in a book at a time, because this allows me to kind of digest the information a little bit better. So it's just kind of one of those things that I'm able to kind of take a small bite, but really taste it and really digest it in the best way possible. So I'm going to read to you one line that I really think this is the key. This is the key. And I read it and I was like, this is what happened to me. This is exactly what changed for me. Okay. And here it is. It says, consider again the statement, all thoughts which have been emotionalized, in parentheses, given feeling, and mixed with faith, begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. I'm going to say that one more time. Okay. Just let this sink in for a second. Consider again the statement, all thoughts which have been emotionalized or given feeling and mixed with faith begin immediately to translate themselves into their physical equivalent or counterpart. So what happened for me is I started actually feeling what it was going to feel like to have a certain amount of money in my business. I started actually picturing and really feeling those feelings, and versus before when I was not feeling those, what I was feeling before was the lack of the money, the lack of success in my business. But what I started doing differently, and it really wasn't long, I maybe did this for like a couple weeks before I had like my 5-figure day. Okay, it happens like in a day. I just boom, like cash infusion. It just rained money for me. And like I said, it was very quickly how this happened. But the real key to this was I didn't allow any current circumstances or anything that had happened to like sink in. So anything that was happening, I kind of just started blocking off, and then I just kept going back to that. How does it feel to have the money I want to feel in my business? What does that feel like to me? And just sitting in that moment of, oh, that feels amazing. I'm so excited. It got me really excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be able to go on these trips. I'm going to be able to create such an impact. I'm going to do so much good in the world. And honestly, like that for me, doing that consistently over and over, I use journaling too, but I've been journaling out my desires in the present tense for the past 2 months. I think the past 2 months, I write out everything, and I don't just limit it to my business or money. I literally write about everything from my marriage, what kind of marriage I want to have, the type of business I want to have, the type of clients I want to attract. And literally, I have been, all those things that I've been writing down, I am attracting like a magnet. Okay. I have been able to attract clients that are just so meant to be for me, that are just literally like soulmate clients. Like I talk to them and we both are just like, this needs to happen. Like we're meant to work together. It literally has been that way. And it's been amazing. Just the things that I've been attracting into my life. I'm manifesting my desires like crazy, but I really think what had to happen, like I said, was some belief. So one belief that I had about money, I noticed this because every single time that I went to think about, like when I went to write, when I was journaling about money and like, okay, I'm going to write down, this is the amount I want to have, I felt a little guilty. And I'm like, I had to take a step back and think, why do I feel guilty about this? Why do I feel guilty about having money? And it came down to some old beliefs I had from my mom. So my mom, she's a great lady. I love her to death. But I grew up constantly hearing, we don't have money for that. We don't have money for that. Your dad has a lot of money. He doesn't want to give us money. Your dad is really just not a responsible person. He has a lot of money. His side of the family has tons of money, but they're not very good with it. They are not very nice people. They're not, all these negative connections with money in my mind from a very early age. And so I started realizing that the reason that I felt guilty, and my mom also made a big deal, like, oh, this person's like a really humble person. She doesn't have a lot of money, but she's such a nice person. So she started, in my mind, I always grew up believing you don't need a lot of money to be happy. You don't need a lot of money, and wanting more than what you need is not really a good thing. Like you don't want to be asking for more than what you need. And you want to just go to college, get your nice degree, get a nice corporate job, and make money that way and work really hard hours to make some kind of good money, a decent amount of money, like a good middle class income. I grew up thinking like money is a really scarce thing. Like money is really, it doesn't grow on trees, right? And to want more money then what you need is not good either. You want to be humble. Being humble is good. Humble as in being poor. and to be poor meant you're a really good person. Like money kind of makes rich people, it makes people greedy, and it makes people not really that great of people. So those are the beliefs that I grew up with, and I think many people have too. And it's so important to identify these beliefs, because then you can start reprogramming them. That's the beauty of all this, that you can literally reprogram these old beliefs and these old thoughts, these thought patterns. And so once I started identifying my guilt behind wanting more money, because I was so out of alignment, I was asking for money, but I was blocking it because deep down, I didn't feel right asking for more money. Like it felt evil. It felt evil to ask for more money, okay? The way that I was able to shift that belief around was making the connection, and this was a few different things that happened. So I found some scriptures. So I'm a Christian, I'm LDS, I read the scriptures, it's a part of my belief system. So I'm not saying, and like I said, all these things affect us, because for example, if you grew up with a religious background in any way, then you're probably going to have some of these beliefs too. And there's certain things that can help you reshift that. And what I actually ended up doing was I found scriptures that basically were saying it is good to be prosperous. Like God wants you to be prosperous. God wants you to be rich, because that's the way that you can truly help build His kingdom, build and bless His children and bless other people. So for me, having that religious background, I had to literally go to the source of where a lot of my beliefs came from, which was my mother and my religious background, and find in there. So once I found in there, whoa, hold on a second. Like God actually wants me to have more money. God wants this for me. once it almost felt like this like string was cut in my mind, because once I made that realization, like, actually, God does want me to have more money, because that will allow me to have a bigger impact and help more people. And that connection in my mind felt really good and really righteous, I guess you can say. It didn't feel evil at all. It felt really good. And once I made that connection that money is just this thing, money is just this, it's just an energy. It's just this thing, but what it allows you to do is so amazing, right? If you can't have a big impact in the world and you can't help other people being poor, it doesn't work that way. You can't do it. And so once those things started shifting in my mind, and I started constantly reaffirming that, no, having a lot of money is going to help me have a bigger impact. And ultimately, that's all I wanted. I just wanted that impact that the money was going to allow me to have. And it's not necessarily about just having tons of money just to go out and buy tons of like expensive shoes and purses, right? Like, sure, that'll be nice someday, but I'm not, actually, like, the money I've made, I'm like reinvesting back in my business, because I'm building an empire here, because I want to have a massive impact in the world. And I want to help women to own their self-worth and to be truly confident in themselves and what they have to offer, and go out there and help others and help the people they're meant to serve. Because I truly have always believed that every person in this world has a purpose. We're not put here by accident. God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't put people here on accident. And coming, wow, I'm really getting like into my story back here, but I didn't always believe that. I feel strongly about it now, because I grew up depressed. I grew up wondering why I was even here. Like, I attempted suicide. My gosh, this is not something I normally talk about, but I'm sharing this with you because the reason I feel so passionate about this now is because at some point in my life, I thought my life wasn't worth it. I thought, no one loves me. I don't need to be here. No one cares. I really thought those things. Okay. And it's like really hard. I don't like to talk about this because it makes me so sad that 15, 16-year-old Des really believed that. Like, she really thought like she wasn't lovable. She didn't have anything to do in this world. And now I'm here, and like, I'm at this point in my life, and looking hindsight, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, there's so many things that I had to live through, because I know that my story is going to resonate with certain people. And those certain people are the people that I'm meant to be here for, that I'm meant to serve, that I'm helped to pull out of that dark place. And I fully believe that the trials in our lives, that's what they're meant for. So I hope that by being open, it gives you permission to be open with your story and share your story, because I truly believe that your story is meant to be shared with the world to help others. Okay, we all have a story. We all have something we have struggled with in life, something we've overcome. No one has a perfect life. No one. I mean, I can sit here now and talk to you on video, but this wasn't always the case. Because I had so many self-esteem and self-confidence issues growing up, I couldn't get up in front of people without like stammering. I literally I couldn't speak. The words wouldn't even come out. That's how terrified and nervous I was of any public speaking or videos or anything like that. So if I can overcome that and develop that skill of either being on videos or showing my personality or sharing my story on videos or public speaking or anything like that, you can too. Trust me, there's nothing like special about me. And when people say like, oh, but you know, your hair's this way and you're whatever, it's like, that's all learned. Those are all learned skills. Okay. Anybody can learn to make their hair look pretty. Anybody can learn to make their makeup look really great on camera. And that's what I teach people, because it's just skills that you can learn. I don't believe in, oh, like you have to be born a certain way or you have to look a certain way. Absolutely not. All these things are learned. Confidence is a muscle that must be worked to be strong. Okay. And the reason that I now feel confident on video or feel confident speaking to people, it's not because I was born this way. It's because I've worked so hard at it. And it was actually a weakness of mine at one point. Literally, I couldn't do it. I couldn't physically do it. There's people that get nervous, but they can still spit out words. I couldn't even do that. I stuttered. Like I stuttered through my words, and then I just wanted to like die because I was even more embarrassed. And anyway, so I share that with you because it's possible. It's possible to build an online business, to get on videos and be confident. It's possible for you to have everything that you desire, but we all have certain limiting beliefs and certain blocks and beliefs around money, around our self-worth, around ourselves, like who we are, how we show up. Like I was talking to someone recently who was saying, you know, I just feel like I'm boring on videos. And I'm like, well, if you keep believing that, you will be boring on your videos. And then we started kind of working around that belief about being boring on video and say, well, do you think you're a boring person in person? Probably not, you know? And so it's just reshifting and practicing and getting better and better, and just repetition. This book, Think and Grow Rich, talks so much about repetition. And that's why, like I always say, like, don't just read a book once. Don't just do things one time. Do it over and over. Don't just do a live video one time and call it good. Do it over and over and over. Tell your audience or your people, as small as it may be, you can just tell them, hey, I'm going to be here every single day at this time, or once a week at this time, and set yourself up so that you have to do it. That's literally what I've done, and that's what's helped me be consistent. And consistency is what brings about success. Hands down. You can't go to the gym one time, and I say this all the time, you can't go to the gym one time or even twice or even 3 times and think, I'm going to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds from those 3 times, or I'm going to have a 6-pack after going to the gym one time. Doesn't work that way. And it's the same way with your marketing, with your visibility, with your videos, with emailing your list. Those were the things that I had to shift to see that success in my business, was to do the things I didn't feel like doing. Most of the time, I don't feel like emailing my list. I have like this resistance around it. But I said, you know what? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it anyway. And then once I got into the flow of it, things started going. And, you know, but I get writer's block too. Like, and I hear so many different reasons why people aren't consistent, but just don't give in to those beliefs or those excuses. They're excuses at the end of the day. So whatever you do it consistently, and that's what brings about success. It's not being born a certain way or having certain natural abilities do come into play, obviously, to a certain degree, but I think anything can really be developed. These skills can be developed. Okay. Thank you so much for your interaction and for being here, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.